Issues. All right. So very good evening, dear learners. Hope you all are doing well. So we are meeting again for the session. There was one small topic that was remaining in the first unit that you people were even concerned about. So we'll first finish up with that and then we'll take up with the third unit. Fine. In case you have any queries, I'll give you opportunities to post your questions and we'll discuss those questions after every 3 slides. Okay. So I'll start with the session without wasting much of the time. I hope it is visible. Mahesh,
Yes, ma'am.
which slide is visible? How effective communication contributes to overall managerial success?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much. Fine. So, learners, this was the topic that was left in your first unit, and as I have already promised you, that we'll discuss it. So today we'll be discussing it quickly because it is not that difficult to understand. We'll quickly go through the slides. So, this topic says that how your communication, your effective communication, can lead to organizational success, and why. So it just tells you why business communication is important. Fine. So the first. Contribution of effective communication in an organization is it leads to clarity in goals and expectations. So the employee get a clear idea of what is expected out of them and what exactly the organization is willing to achieve through whatever the planning has been done, right? So if the communication is effective, if the management has discussed effectively and shared their ideas and plans with the employees, it becomes easy for them to understand the goals of the organization, the objectives of the organization, and at the same time, it becomes easy for them to fulfill the expectations of the organization. Fine. The second point says that it leads to improved decision making. Now, see, decision making could only be done if you have correct information with you. Fine. Without proper information, you cannot make a decision, isn't it? You think yourself, if you want to take certain decisions, you need to have a lot of information about it. So, if that information is provided to you, how will that information be provided to you as an employee? The management will communicate it to you. They will provide you with that information. So, if the information are proper, if the information is complete, it would lead to better decision making. Right? So, communication helps in proper decision making. Then it leads to team coordination. When the people are effectively communicating with each other, when the management and employees are effectively communicating with each other, there would be a better team environment, and a better team environment would lead to better coordination amongst the employees themselves, and that will lead to better outputs. Then the next point says that it helps in building strong relationships. So at workplace, we have already discussed, people come closer, they become friends, and for that they need communication. If communication is good, if the communication between those people is good, it will lead to building up of strong relationship between the employees, between the management and employees, and amongst the management as well. So communication helps in building strong relationships. Then it leads to motivation. A happy employee is always motivated, right? So if the people gets opportunity to share their ideas, their viewpoints, that will lead to happiness. And a happy employee is a motivated employee, and they are always engaged in the activities of the organization. So they will always contribute towards the betterment of the organization. Next point says that effective communication leads to conflict resolution. What is conflict? Any kind of dispute, any kind of disparity in the thoughts of people leads to conflict. So when communication is proper, that can reduce conflicts, that can reduce misunderstandings, and as a result, when misunderstandings would be reduced, conflicts would automatically go down. It will help in accepting changes. The 7 point says that it leads to facilitate change management. So if the organization is trying to bring something new, any big change that the organization wants to bring in an organization, what they need to do is they need to first inform their employees about the same. Say, for example, an organization is going for merger and the employees are not aware about it. That will lead to a feeling of dissatisfaction in the employees. The employees might believe that they might have to leave their jobs because merger would lead to large number of employees that would come together, and as a result of that, most of them would have to leave their job. Right. So this kind of thought that the employee can get can be reduced if they are told about those mergers in advance, and the organization tells them that, see, this we are planning and this is going to happen in the entire process. We're not going to take away your jobs or whatever. So what will happen? The employees will easily accept that change. They would be ready to accept that merger, right? So good communication reduces the fear of change, and when the fear of change is reduced, the resistance to change is also reduced. Resistance, I hope you understand, when the people are not ready for something, right? So they resist, they go against it. So changes would be accepted easily if they are communicated well in advance. Next point says that it leads to, or it enhances leadership skills. More good you are at communicating, more properly you can understand the other person's emotions, more properly you can counsel other person, that will lead to making you a good leader. So leaders can also be effective only if they are good at communication. So it enhances leadership effectiveness. And next point says that it improves productivity and performance. Happy employee, motivated employee would be performing better, and better performing employee would give better productivity. It is a sequence of event that happens. If I am happy at my work, I will uh, be more productive at my work. If I'll be more productive at my work, my performance would automatically be good. Right. So all these things are related to each other. And the last point says that it strengthens organizational culture. So when the communication in the organization is clear, when everything is communicated properly and effectively to the employees by the management, what norms, what rules, what policies are there in the organization can be easily understood by everybody, and that leads to a better organizational culture where everybody is happy working with each other, everybody is coordinated with each other, and everybody is performing their task as per the need of the organization. So this was the only thing that was left in the first unit, these 3 slides, and I hope it is very clear to you because it is very simple to understand. It is only talking about how your effective communication at organization can lead to the success of the organization. Fine. If you have any query regarding it, you can quickly post, and then we'll move to the third unit that we are going to discuss today. Fine. So question and answers could be posted quickly. And if there's no question, we'll move ahead. Unit 3 is guidelines. Yes, Unit 3 is guidelines that we are going to start now. That one topic from Unit first was remaining. And in the previous class also, we could not discuss that. So that is why I have discussed it today. Is material enough in LMS? Can you please suggest? Look, I have already suggested. Okay, good evening, everybody. Most of the questions, the Q&A is about, there's no question as such about this topic. So everybody is wishing good evening. Good evening, all of you. Now let us come to the third unit and let us start discussing the third unit. Fine. So this third unit is about guidelines for written business communication. How to make your written communication effective in organizational context. We are going to talk about. See, what happens is every day we are communicating with our friends and many other people through writing only, right? On WhatsApp, we write and communicate. On emails, if our friends are staying somewhere very far away from us and we want to talk to them, we even use emails for that purpose, right? We're writing assignments and everything. That is also written communication. But when we talk about business communication, it is not that casual in approach, right? Written business communication is not at all casual. It is very professional in nature. It has to be very professional. It has to be taken care of that whatever you write is clear and it is purposeful. It fulfills the purpose for which you are writing. Fine. So we have already discussed what is written communication, and we have also discussed its advantages and disadvantages. So whenever you communicate your ideas or you communicate or share your information or messages through written words, that is termed as written communication. We already know that. And what are the learning objectives of this unit? By the end of this unit, you'll be able to evaluate your writing style, identify the common errors in English usage, differentiate between general and business writing, and compose a piece of business communication confidently. That is what we are expecting. Now let us come to what we are going to discuss today. So see, writing skills are very crucial and very critical whenever we talk about any business communication. Now, any kind of error in writing cannot be accepted. Why? Because this form of communication not only is used within the organization internally, but it is also used externally with the other people and with the outside world. Same time, other kind of things are also used in business communication, such as press releases, if you might have heard, for the general public, right? Not only for business. What I'm telling you here is written communication is not only used within the organization, it is used with the other organizations also for cracking business deals. And at the same time, it is done with the outside audience to share the information about your organization with the world. So therefore, it becomes very important as a manager to understand that you have to be very clear and concrete while you write any message in written form. Fine. So, what are the key features of written business communication? First of all, it is permanent in nature. Why we are calling it permanent? Because you can read it again and again, isn't it? The letter, if it is in a hard copy form, you can read it anytime. So, right, yeah, an email, you can go through that email several times, thousands of times, and it will remain in your inbox, right? So, any mistake in that would create a very negative image of yours. Secondly, the another key feature is your written communication should be very clear and it should be well structured. The framing of your entire message should be very well structured, and it does not require people to be present at the same time. That is the most key feature of written communication. That whatever you write need not be read by the person at the same time. He can read it tomorrow, he can read it day after tomorrow, he can read it some other day. So these are the key features of written communication. Now, what are the basic principles, general principles of writing? See, there are two broad principles, right? First of all, your message should be readable. It should be understanding. That is important. And the basic principles that you need to keep in your mind while writing is you need to write to express and not to impress. You're not giving an exam where you have to use some fancy words and where you have to make your language look very fancy. No, you don't have to do that. What you are writing should be in a way that it should be able to express what you want to say. And secondly, it should be short and sweet. It should be concise. It should be in limited words. Very important. These two principles are very important. Please keep them in mind whenever you are writing something in your organization as a business communication. Write it to express your thoughts, emotions, or whatever information if you're sharing. And it should be short and sweet. So there's a statement at the end that a good writer is one who follows this principle and asks himself or herself even before framing a sentence that what I'm trying to say and will my words be able to express it. These are the two things that you need to keep in your mind, that what I'm trying to say and will my words that I'm choosing be able to express what I am writing. Now comes the um, writing methodology. Now, what is methodology? Methodology is a systematic way or systematic approach of doing a particular task, right? How you do a particular thing in a planned and organized manner is known as methodology. Research methodology you might be studying or you might study in the next semester. So methodology is what? A systematic way or a systematic approach in which you write a particular document. So in simple words, you can say it is a step-by-step process which you need to follow while writing. Clear? So this writing methodology comprises of three stages. First is pre-writing. Pre means before, isn't it? Pre means before. So before writing, what you need to do is termed as pre-writing. And what are those things that you need to keep in mind before writing? Analyze, anticipate, and adapt. Now, what does this mean? We'll look in the next slide. So once you've done your pre-writing thing, when you have planned everything, then comes the writing part, where you actually jot down your thoughts. So this writing part again includes three things: researching, organizing, and composing. And the third one is reviewing. That comes after the work is done. Reviewing is done once the thing is already over, right? So when you've written, you review it. That means you revise, you proofread, and you evaluate. These three things comes under reviewing. So let us look into each of them, and then I'll take your questions. So you can post your questions also by the time. So the pre-writing stage, as I've already told you, a stage where you have not written anything, but you're planning for it. So it is a thinking and planning stage. Before you start writing, it is your thinking and planning stage. So it includes three stages. First is analyzing. Now, what does analyzing means? Analyzing means trying to understand your topic, what you are writing about. What is the purpose of writing and who is the audience? Say, for example, you're writing a sales letter. You want to promote your sales and you're writing to another company for buying your product, right? Say, for example, you are a television manufacturing company and you get to know that there is a hotel that has been opened in your city, and you want, and because you know that if there is a hotel, there would be number of rooms, and in each room there would be a television that they would be installing. So what you are doing? You are persuading him to purchase your television sets so that your sales increases. As simple as that, right? So what you will do, first you'll understand why you're writing. You're writing to increase your sales, right? What is the topic? It is a sales letter. That is the topic. The purpose is to increase your sales, and the audience is the owner of that hotel. Fine. Then what do? You anticipate. What is anticipating? That is predicting. And what are you predicting? You're predicting your readers' need and expectation. And what are your readers' need over there? When you're writing a letter to a hotel owner to insist him or to motivate him, persuade him to buy your television sets, what is your need? What is his need that you are looking at? He needs some good quality television set at lower prices, right? He's buying in bulk, so he's expecting lesser price, a bigger discount he's expecting. So you have anticipated that, and accordingly, you will give as much discount as possible up to your limits. Fine. And then adapting, analyzing the tone, the style, and approach of writing. So you prepare what and how to write in the pre-writing stage. Then comes the second stage, that is the writing stage. Now you are actually writing, right? Earlier you were planning for it. Now you're actually writing. You are drafting your letter. So what you'll do, you will research, you will collect all the relevant information that how many rooms are there in that particular hotel. So for each room, they would require one television set, isn't it? So what you'll do, you'll collect all the information. Then you'll organize your ideas in a logical, sequential manner. Right. So first of all, you'll greet that person that, hello, I came to know that you've opened a hotel in this particular area and you are looking for some interior work to be done or whatever it is, right? So you'll compose your idea in sequential manner. First you'll greet, then you'll tell him how you got to know this, then what is your purpose, what can you offer them, how much discount you can offer them, and then you'll greet that person and you'll add your letter, right? So you'll organize it, and then finally you'll draft it, you'll write it down. You'll convert your ideas into written form. Then comes the last stage, that is the reviewing. Once you've written the letter, once it is drafted, you will revise it, like you revise your answer sheet. When you submit your answer sheet, you first, in your exams, you first revise it, whether I've answered all the questions, whether any question is left or not, right? So in the same way, you revise to check whether all the information that was required, you've mentioned it or not. Then you'll proofread. Proofread is check if there is any error anywhere. You'll proofread, and then you will evaluate its effectiveness, whether you've written it well enough, yes or no. If no, you will refine and polish your writing. If everything is okay, you will send that letter, you will send that mail. So that is how effective writing is done. Now, any questions up till now, you can quickly post them. I hope this much is clear to you. Do formal and informal communication fall under types of, it falls under channels of communication. Types of communication are oral and written. That's in fourth unit. This is third unit. And please help me how to complete our assignment questions with the help of unit PDF file that we will discuss in the DB sessions, right? We don't have that much of time that we can discuss it again and again. And please display the PPT of fourth point. Fourth point of effective communication. Facilitate change management, you want to know. See, change is anything new, isn't it? Change is what? Anything new that is happening. So for accepting anything new, you first need to know about it. Now, as an employee, many a times, you are not ready to accept changes. Why? Because you are always in a constant fear of losing your job, isn't it? So as a manager, what is your responsibility? If you are a manager of an organization and you know that there is some changes that you're going to bring, fine. So what becomes your responsibility knowing that your employees must be afraid of losing their job? You need to first talk to them. You need to tell them what you are planning and whether it will affect their job or not, right? So all that is required to be done. If you want to, make your employees accept change, you need to make them ready for change. And that is known as facilitate change management. Facilitate means help them in accepting the change. Right? For exam, can we write points wise, ma'am? Yes, of course, you can write point wise. Everything is going perfect, ma'am. Please continue. Please show the PPT once again. Which PPT you people want to know? How to control internal group and group politics. See, that comes under OB. Group politics is a topic of organizational behavior, but then politics is also inevitable. In every organization, you will find politics amongst the members of the organization. At higher position, there's always a politics. So that is the responsibility of management to control it, timely recognize who are the ones who are bringing those issues in light and all that, and then accordingly you have to take care of it. But internal group and team politics is not a part of business communication. That is a part of organizational behavior. So there you will study it, and I'm sure in the first semester you have OB as a subject, so you can talk about it. Or if you want to, understand from me, I can also help you in this particular topic, but then we'll discuss it in the DB session, right? And we are concerned with this subject right now, whatever we are learning, right? So you can ask this question with your concerned faculty. Fine, so we'll move ahead. Yes, so we were discussing the stages that we've discussed. Now comes the tips in writing style. What is important when you write? There are certain tips that you can follow, and that will help you in framing your written communication well. So the first point says that you need to choose between simple and complex words, and it is suggested that use minimum complex words, or rather do not use any complex word and use as simple words as possible, because you should your receiver vocabulary, if you know that the receiver is very well versed with some complex words and everything, then you can frame your statements and message in that way. But it is most preferable to use simple words as compared to the complex words, so that the person can understand your message without any problem. Fine. So there are certain examples which are shown. So show is a simple word. Demonstrate might be difficult for somebody to understand. Change is easy to understand. Modify may be difficult, right? So such words should be avoided, which are more complex in nature, whereas simple words should be used and should be chosen while writing a particular sentence. Second thing is You need to avoid jargons, slangs, and metaphors. What are jargons? We have discussed it many times that jargons are the technical terms that are used in communication. Technical, which is related to a particular field of knowledge. That's technical. A lawyer uses the language of law. So you and me might not understand because we are not from law. We are management graduates, isn't it? A doctor uses certain medical terms which we are not aware about. Why? Because again, we are not from the medical field. We are again management students or management learners. So use such words which are even if you are, say, for example, you are a doctor and you're communicating with somebody, try to minimize the use of those medical terms. Or as a manager also, we are aware of various words like leverage and so many words which are difficult to for other people to understand. So we should avoid those words first of all. Secondly, slangs should be avoided. And what are slangs? These are those casual words which are not there in the standard English dictionary, right? Words which are not there in the standard English dictionary but are accepted nowadays. These are used in casual, informal communication. So that should be avoided. Like example is given over here. Blown away means greatly impressed, but blown away is not a normal standard English word. So flip out means lose of control. Glitch, we often use glitch. There's a technical glitch. We say that, right? So that is that means defect or some problem. So such slangs should be avoided, which could not be understood by the other person. Then metaphors. What are metaphors? Metaphor simply means comparison with something, right? Visual comparison with certain things. So that should also be avoided. Examples are given. He is rock solid in his support. So that is there's no need to use such words. We provide an umbrella of insurance. We provide a vast variety of insurances. You can say that rather than using we provide an umbrella of insurance, right? So such phrases could be used when you are chatting or you're talking informally. And here it is written, it could be used in advertisements also because advertisements are informal means of communication. So there we can use such slangs, we can use such metaphors, we can use such jargons. But in case we are being very formal, we need to avoid all those things so that our communication looks more proper and clean. Fine. Then this third thing says the parts of speeches should be used well. Now, it simply means that the grammar should be correct. There should not be any mistake in the grammar. A small mistake in grammar can also create a negative image of yours. So this should be avoided in spoken communication, in oral communication. This could be avoided. Sometimes even very good and fluent speakers, they get they fumble or they might use grammar incorrectly. But in written way of communication, it cannot happen. You might have seen certain English programs also, certain English movies also, where when they communicate in their local language, in their mother tongue, in English, they do not use proper grammar. We often use proper grammar as Indians, but the foreigners, the people who are using English in their day-to-day life, the mother tongue of them is English, but still they do not use proper grammar while speaking. So that is okay. In speaking, you might, make mistakes, but in written communication, it is not acceptable at all. So you must know all the parts of speech, and that you must have studied in your school. So I'm not going to discuss all these, but you must know what are nouns, what are pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, because this is not English class. So I'm not going to discuss each of them, but you should know how to use grammar properly and effectively in your sentence framing. Then the fourth point says the use of active and passive voices. Now, active voice and passive voice is also something that you might have studied in your school, in your English classes. So we're not discussing what is active voice and what is passive voice in this particular topic. We're just discussing how to use active voice and passive voice while writing. So generally, it is said it is preferable that one must use active voice, right? While framing any written communication. Passive voice is not preferred generally, but in certain cases, passive voice has to be used and what are those cases? The first one is when the doer of the action has to be subordinated. Say, for example, I want to say that I'm working in a team and I've done a particular thing and I'm saying that I have done this particular task. No, that should not be the way of communicating in a team. What should be done? So and so was completed. This particular task was done. So you do not need to tell that who has done it. You just need to tell that this thing has been done. So here's an example which says a questionnaire was prepared and interviews were conducted among a small sample. This is a passive voice. Rather than saying I prepared the questionnaire and conducted interview, we would say a questionnaire was prepared and interview were conducted. Right? And the second condition where passive voice needs to be used is where there is certain mistakes that need not be highlighted. So it's something negative you have to say. So in that condition also, avoid using active voice and use passive voice. Example here is given. The correctness to the the correctness to the report have been carried out. Passive voice. You have not carried out the correction of the report is active voice. So when you say you have not done it, you're pointing out somebody's mistake. It doesn't look good. So you avoid using active voice here and you can say that the correction to the reports have not been done. So it gives lesser, pain to the other person to listen. Fine. So let us see any questions till now or we'll move further then. In AI era, we use AI tools to correct our emails. Yeah, that is done. That is done mostly nowadays to write effectively and write in proper way. Nowadays, everybody uses AI and there's no harm in it. There's nothing wrong with that. And business communication is required to have an employee personal touch for company's well-being and reframe them. Is it a part of it? Ma'am, business communication is required to have employee personal touch for companies' well-being and retain them. Is it a part of it? Ma'am, business communication is required to have employee personal touch for companies. Yeah, I mean, whenever you're communicating, there need to be a personal touch so that the reader can relate to it and can have, more connection with whatever you do. Next topic, continue, ma'am. Okay. Ma'am, composing email, composing, explain again. Composing means when you write it down, when you collect all the information and you finally jot it down, that is composing. How to identify micromanagement in organization. Micromanagement? I didn't get your question. How to identify micromanagement in your question in your organization? As in what? As an employee, as a manager, or what? And what if we can't attend DB session? There's no issue in it. If you have queries, you can come up with your queries over there. It is not for attendance. It is for understanding any topic that you've not understood in the class or anything that was not answered during the class because of lack of time. So it is for that purpose. Because you people are working, so you might not be able to attend it during the daytime. So it is not an issue. Only in case you have queries, you can definitely come up and ask questions. Composing, I'll open the slide again for composing if you have any query. Composing is finally writing down, right? Composing is nothing but finally writing the things. Sorry. Employees, it becomes easy and then first without. Fine. So learners, this was the topic that was left in your first unit. And as I have already promised you that we'll discuss it. So today we'll be discussing it quickly because it is not that difficult to understand. We'll quickly go through the slides. So this topic says that how your communication, your effective communication can lead to organizational success, and why. So it just tells you why business communication is important. Fine. So the first contribution of effective communication in an organization is it leads to clarity in goals and expectations. So the 10 points. In few books, topics are same, but content is different. Can we read? Yes, you can definitely go through the books. Please keep the DB sessions in evening. Actually, Pooja, that is not in my hand. That is all done through some a tool only. And DB sessions are generally in the daytime only. So I can't help it, but I can put your point to the program coordinator so that they can look into it. Proofreading also means vetting. RDB sessions unit wise, or yes, actually we conducted unit wise. It becomes more easy for you to understand. But then if you have any query, you can ask there also, no issues. From some other unit also you can ask. Then please explain active and passive voice from written communication. Active and passive voice you might have studied in your school, right? Active voice is when the doer is in the beginning and passive voice is when the doer is at the end. So active and passive voice are used while framing sentences. So it is preferable that you use active voice rather than passive voice only when only passive voice is used in two conditions that we've already discussed. You know? Scrutinizing, right? Yes. Proofreading is scrutinizing. If the negatives are not to be highlighted, then how the issues are to be reported and the root cause and solutions. No, negatives have to be highlighted. I said a negative image of a person should not be highlighted. Na? So if I have done something wrong, I would, or a particular member in my team has done something wrong, I would not point him out, but I would say that this went wrong and it has to be corrected, rather than saying he did it wrong and he needs to get punished for it. Right? That is what we are saying. You make more connections with your boss. Yes, with effective communication, you make more connection with your boss. Why? Because when your boss is communicating directly with you, he is sharing whatever is there related to the organization with you. You feel more connected with that person, isn't it? Then how your boss take it and reaction in job serving. Personally, professionally, it's hard to deal out situation personally. See, first of all, not every worker or employee gets the opportunity to meet this boss, isn't it? But with the means of meetings in a month or in 15 days, or certain platforms could be used where the bosses could communicate with their employees, and this results in creating a bond or connection between the bosses and the employees. Fine. So moving ahead with the next slide. So the next thing is spelling and pronunciations. Now, what does it mean? See, of course, spelling should be correct, but there are two different ways of spelling something, isn't it? Nowadays, we use British English as well as American English, both. And there are certain words in both these languages which are spelled differently, right? Certain examples are also given, highlighted on the slide. So what happens is, generally, it is preferable to use British English because we use British English while communicating. But if your audience is only American, right, then you have to use American English, no doubt about it, isn't it? And if you're using American English, then use all the words with American English only. If you're using British English, use all the words in that spelling only. That is preferable. Then use of punctuations should be correctly done. I'm not going to explain each punctuation to you because I am sure you might be knowing everything. Apostrophe is used where? Apostrophe is used to form the possessive singular form of words. These are all English things that you already know, I'm sure. So these punctuations plays a very important role in communication, right? Whatever you write and makes meaning only when the punctuations are correctly used. I hope you all know punctuation. Full stop, comma, colon, semicolon, hyphen, brackets, all these comes under punctuation. So the punctuation should be used properly, and then only it makes your communication effective. Even when we speak, we make sure that we are using the punctuations correctly. Like at the end of every sentence, we automatically wait for 2 seconds or more, but we wait. As soon as the sentence ends, we stop, like I did right now. Why we do that? Because we're making use of those punctuations. And if not taken care of, that can lead to misunderstanding and can create an entirely different meaning to your message. Right? So punctuations have to be used very properly. Punctuations includes apostrophe. This slide is open. You during the if you look at this particular slide during your when you revise, you can go through these things. Apostrophe, parenthesis, also known as brackets, colons, commas, then dash, full stop. Full stop is used at the end of the sentence, and full stop is used for certain abbreviation also, like Dr. Sonal Saxena. So doctor, I don't write full doctor. I write DR dot, right? Junior, number, right? So wherever there is a abbreviation used, there is a full stop used. Quotation marks, quotation. When something has been said by somebody, we use quotation. So and so said. Or you might have studied the gravitational law says that the earth pulls towards itself, whatever it is. So that is written in parenthesis. It is written in quotation marks because it's been said by somebody. The manager said, I will review your progress every month. So the manager said, what he said, that comes in the quotation marks, right? Semicolons. You might be knowing what is semicolon, right? So all these punctuations also need to be taken care of when you write anything, because your written message is uh, only and only understood if your punctuations are used correctly. Using full stop somewhere which is not required, using a comma where it is not required, all these creates grammatical errors, and these errors can lead to misunderstanding of your information. Fine. Then comes, what are the common errors in writing? Generally, when we write in English or in any other language also, we make certain common errors. And what are those common errors? The first one is redundancies. And what is redundancy? Using the same thing repetitively, using the repetitive words again and again. That is redundancy. Right? So the phrases that contains repetitive or unnecessary words to express same meaning is known as redundancies. So example is given. The first example says, in the first class, the professor taught the basic fundamentals of marketing. Basic fundamentals of marketing. Now, basic and fundamentals both represent same thing. So you can either say the professor taught basics of marketing, or you can say the professor taught fundamentals of marketing. Both are same. You need not use basic fundamentals of marketing. Fine. Second example says that I have to return back home before midnight. It might not look grammatically incorrect, isn't it? It doesn't look grammatically incorrect, but it is wrong. Return and back are the same thing. So I have to return home before midnight. I have to get back to home before midnight. You can use any of them. Fine. Then glitches. These are those phrases which are overused. Right. Last but not the least, first of all, there's no need to use such things in writing. It might look good while speaking, but it doesn't look good while writing. So glitches are phrases that are overused and should be avoided since they make reading monotonous. Monotonous, you understand? Boring, repetitive, right? So it should not be used. Example is given. First is last but not the least. Acha, there's one line which is written. Glitches should be substituted with one with more original expression rather than last but not the least or thanking you in advance. That looks very fancy, isn't it? That need not to be used. So what could be done? In spite of using last but not the least, you can say finally, I would say finally, I would conclude. Finally, I would like to say that is right. So write in a way that is simple. Again and again, we are using the same thing. Keep it short and simple. Keep it short and sweet. That's what is expected while writing. Fine. Then frequent misused words should be avoided. Like examples are given: already without any space and already. Already means already it is done. Previous time we have completed it already. This assignment has been done already. Why? All space, all ready means everything is ready. Whatever you want, you can ask for it. Everything is ready, right? That means. So such words should not be misunderstood and should not be misused during writing. Any doubt till now? If there is any, we can quickly resolve those doubts. You can put up your questions. How to write professionally. This is how you write professionally. This is what we are talking about. This unit is about how to write professionally. So all these things should be taken care of and automatically you'll be writing properly. You're not audible? I'm not audible, Mahesh?
You are audible, ma'am.
Okay. I'm audible. Aditi, there might be some problem in your system. There's a hierarchy which every organization follows in terms of communicating with top level of management for effective communication. Yes, we've already discussed those hierarchies, upward, downward. And then there are certain cases where the higher authorities directly also communicate with their employees. But that happens rarely, but then it is also a case. All right. DB session can be planned after office hours as I'm unable to access it during working hours. Kindly look into this. Permanent, I'll have to talk about it. It is not in my hand. That is done. That is not done manually. I'll put this point to your respective program coordinators. If they find it okay, they'll be fine. What type of communication is written communication? Verbal or non-verbal? You don't know this, Pradeep. We have been discussing it since so many days. Is being taken by me is passive voice. What is jargon? Jargon is something which is jargon means technical terms, technical words which are used. So every profession have certain technical terms associated with that. If you talk to an engineer, he have his technical know-how. If you talk to a doctor, they use their technical words. If you talk to a lawyer, they use their technical terms. If you talk to a manager, he would use his technical terms. So every field, every profession has certain technical terms associated with it, and it is known as jargon. Is only LMS material enough for exam point of view? Yes, it could be used in exam. Proofreading is nothing but scrutinizing. Yes. All right. These questions we've already discussed. Let's move ahead. Do formal and informal communication fall under the type? Formal and informal falls under channels of communication, and verbal and non-verbal falls under the type of communication. Please remember it. Formal and informal are channels of communication. Verbal and non-verbal are types of communication. Little miscommunication, ma'am. I am asked about personal connection with team, vendors, and stakeholders are more than boss. Then how your boss cordially accept your way with effective communication? What makes more connections more than your boss? Then how your boss take it and reaction in job serving. Personally, professionally, it's hard to deal out situation personally. See, boss should not be, affected if you have good communication with your, um, vendors and with your stakeholders, because that's what they are willing. That's what they're looking for. If you have good communication with your vendors and everyone, then they would be more interested in your business. They would not mind. I don't believe the bosses would mind that. And good communication with boss requires effort from boss, right? So that is essential. Chaliye, let's move ahead. Acha, ma'am, I cannot understand glitches. You didn't understand glitches? Okay, I'll explain it once again and then we'll move forward. See, glitches are those words which are, those phrases that should be avoided Why? Because they make reading monotonous, boring. It makes reading boring. Last but not the least, I would like to thank my falana dikana. I mean, so that is not required. Those phrases which are overused and which are not even required, which makes your communication boring. Those are glitches. Fine. So let's move ahead and let us come to the general writing versus business writing. What's the difference between the two? Let us understand. So the purpose of general writing is to express your ideas, feelings, informations, right? For example, if you're writing to your friend, if you're chatting with your friend on WhatsApp, you are doing general writing. You're just expressing your ideas, expressing how you're feeling today, or you're sharing information. Do you know that this then this has happened? Sharing something. Whereas in case of business writing, you're writing for the achievement of business objective. It is specifically for the attainment of business objective. Fine. That could be through information, persuasion, instructions, anyway. But what is the objective behind business writing is to achieve business goal. First of all, that is the difference between general and business writing. Second thing, the tone in general writing can be informal, can have some personal touch, and can be creative, depending upon whom you are talking to, right? You might write to your friend, you might write to your parents if you are studying in other country, or if you're doing a job in some other state, city, and you're communicating with your parents. You could be a bit informal. You could be, you can have that personal touch in that. But when it comes about business communication, you need to be formal always, right? While writing, business communication is formal. Business communication can be formal, informal. We know that, but business writing is generally formal. It is majorly formal. So it has to be formal, it has to be professional, and it has to be objective. Then the audience, which is associated in general writing, could be general public, your readers, your personal circle, right? People associated with you, people related with you. Whereas the audience in case of business writing is specific, very specific. These are your clients, your employees, your managers, your vendors, your, anybody who is related to your business. Then the style of writing, general writing, could be flexible and it could be expressive. You can be more flexible in your thoughts. You can even share those things which you feel, and you would not share it with somebody, but you can share it with your friends, right? So it is more flexible and expressive. But written business communication is clear always. It is concise and it is structured. It has to be well framed. It has to be well framed. It has to be well structured. Then the language in general writing may be a figurative language. Any kind of language you can use your emotions. And when you talk to your friends, you don't care about what you're writing, isn't it? Although when you talk to your parents, you're very careful. We all are very careful when we talk to our parents. We need to be respectful. But when we talk to our friends, when we write to our friends, when we chat with our friends on WhatsApp, we can use certain words which are generally not acceptable. But in case of business writing, you have to be direct, you have to be precise, you have to be simple. Then the format of general writing is, there's no such format. There's no fixed format. You can write anyways. But when you are writing in business, you need to follow the standard formats. And formats for writing a business letter is also fixed. The format of writing a business email is also fixed. The process of the format of writing reports are also fixed. So everything is standardized. Whereas in general writing, that is not standardized, right? And the focus in case of general writing is on creativity and expression. How well you can express, how creative you are, right? Whereas in case of business writing, the focus is on efficiency and results. What you're writing, whether they are giving you the results or not. And the last thing is the example of general writing: stories, essays, blogs, personal letters. These are all examples of general writing. And nowadays you can even include WhatsApp and other emails that could be used for general writing as well. Whereas business writing are generally done through business emails, letters, reports, proposals, notices, and many other things like memos, like There are a lot of things, circulars, all those come under the category of business writing. So that's it in this topic. What you have learned, how to evaluate, you can now evaluate your writing skills, how you write, what are the common errors, and how you can distinguish between general and business writing and concepts of business communication confidently. Now let us look at the questions that you have. If in case you might have questions, we'll look into it. And please put the live recording of DB, otherwise the class are losing their continuity. In DB, we don't teach anything, Shreya. In DB, we just discuss the questions that are put across by the learners, and only that is done. There's nothing that we teach extra. Whatever we are teaching in the live sessions, that is only in the teaching part. In the DB part, only the question and answers of the learners are entertained, and that too, these questions are related to, of course, your subject and the units that we have discussed, but it has nothing to do with it. Recording of DBs are also done. I don't know how it will get uploaded. I'll get to know about it and I'll let you know. Explain the importance of clarity, conciseness, and tone in professional emails. Importance of clarity, conciseness, and tone. Importance is attainment of organizational objective. That is the importance. What is clarity? Clarity is when every point, everything that you've written is clearly understood by the receiver. That is clarity. Conciseness is completing your message in a limited words. That is conciseness. And tone in professional emails means that you need to be very professional. Tone is what? The way you interact, right? So that need to be professional. And what is the importance? Importance is that you have to, your communication should be such that it can lead to results. Please give assignment tips. What kind of tips do you want, learner? Puneet, I don't understand. We have already discussed. There are 2 assignments. You have to answer those questions, 3 questions in each assignment. So you have total 6 questions. You need to answer those 6 questions, right? There's nothing that needs to be done extra. You already have the word limits. You already have the guidelines that you need to follow. Please follow those guidelines and answer in the word limits that are asked. Fine? Don't need to worry. Already and already. See, already, when there's no space between all and ready, that means previously which has been done. I've already completed my work. I've already completed my assignment. That means you've done it previously. And already, everything is ready. Now I'll be doing my assignment. I've read the questions. I've understood the questions. I've collected the material for the same. And now I'll be answering it. So everything is ready. And I'll be doing it. So that is the difference between already and all ready. Then Shweta, ma'am, at least 5 minutes for assignment writing question. This question has been asked to me in the live sessions also and in the DBs also, and I've been giving the same answer that you need to follow the instructions that are there for writing the assignments. There are only 6 questions in both the assignments, right? So you need to answer those assignments in the word limits that are there. Fine. So you just need to answer those questions. Read it from anywhere. Read the content from internet, or you can go through my PPTs, or you can go through the e-tutorial, e-content that is there on LMS, and accordingly write it down in your words so that there's no AI with it. Fine. Okay. In the assignment, you have asked about the types of communication, and you have referred formal and informal. That's why types of communication is again, I'm repeating, verbal and non-verbal. What he's disturbing and want to be. In a specific organization, top authority wants feedback from employees also, but didn't expect the kind of suggestions. So it is happening because of lack of communication skills. No, that is not happening because of lack of communication skills. That is happening because the top authority is not ready to accept that the workers might also be knowing something. In countries specifically like India, where the people are uneducated, at the worker level, unskilled worker I'm talking about. So, and even if they are educated, they do not have that much of experience. So the management believes that because of lack of experience and knowledge, they might not give good suggestions, and that is why they don't accept it. Right? And that is wrong. That should not be done. Which should use and which should not be used. See, as I told you, glitches, in case of glitches, in speaking it could be used and it looks good, but in writing it doesn't look good. So it should be avoided by writing, but it could be used if you want in the speaking part. Any important questions for the exam, ma'am, that we'll discuss when we are done with all the units, right? So right now, if I give you the important questions, so you won't be able to understand because uh, of course, you've not studied all the units. How to behave and reply to your manager after worst appraisal. See, in that case, he will call you up and he will, first of all, he will try to initiate the conversation with you. And if he doesn't, you need to discuss with him that what were the criterias of appraisal and where you were falling short. And accordingly, if he is providing you all the important information with what was the problem and why he could not, accept your performance to be good, then you can definitely give your counters and you can, give your part of the story to him. Ma'am, in assignment, there is a question. Explain the types of communication, formal and informal, but you told us that formal and see, formal and informal are generally considered to be the channels of communication, but then it can be sometimes said as types of communication also. But if in exam you are asked with the question like, please explain the types of communication, then you please go ahead with verbal and non. But if it is specifically asked that you have to write about formal and informal in the assignment question, please write the formal and informal part. Again, I'm repeating, if it is specifically said that explain the type of communication, formal and informal, then you go for it. But if it is not said and if nothing is being said and it is only said that please write the types of communication and please go ahead with verbal and non-verbal. Okay, I hope I've answered all your questions. So if it is 60 marks, then what is the marks of? Okay. All right. I think I've already answered all the questions. So fine. So the time is also over. You have got the feedback link, so you can go through that also. Fine. So can we end this class now, Mahesh?
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for lovely
Right?
session. Shall I stop recording?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, learners. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you.